Thank you. Thank you for joining us on a Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. This is the WCAC Spectacular. We have a big night for our league community. We have some special guests that will join us and help inform and educate us on the things that are going on right now. I do want to introduce to the show my partner, Kevin Ricca. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I know I'm just as eager to hear all this information as most of you are, and I'm looking forward to it.
Uh, we want to kick things off tonight in a way that's not unique to our. And let me turn myself off here. You know what? There I am. We got ourselves a little technical difficulty. We're going to kick things off in a way that's not unique to our basement experience. If you've been hanging with us for the last 5 years, you know we don't ignore or run from the topics that demand conversation. In fact, it's right in the name of our company, First Amendment Sports. I'll bat lead off here and start by wishing all of you and your families and your loved ones health and safety. It's telling, it's truly telling that these are the things that we pray hardest for today. There's numerous examples of things that can remain unsaid in our world, but the most important things demand conversation. It's true, silence can be and often is violence. It's a sad truth that so many among us don't so many among us doubt our country's true dedication to justice. This doubt has been well sown over the course of time into the fabric of our nation, as minorities have been a constant witness to, a reality that simply isn't real for everyone else. The lack of fairness in our legal system leads to a lack of legitimacy, and the hard work of healing the incredibly deep wounds our country has today, it belongs to all of us. And, we sometimes get too focused on looking for leadership to local government, national government, and we forget we got to look in the mirror. We have to be the change. As I've had the opportunity of telling, heads of schools and athletic directors in person, we're not just a sports league, we're a Catholic Christian community. And, our faith demands that we live our shared beliefs. Our faith reminds us that whatsoever you do to the least of us, you do to all of us. Our faith requires us to invest ourselves in the pursuit of equality, justice, and peace. And we've been given a plan. The many lessons we're taught, love your neighbor as yourself, is right at or near the top. It's not always easy, but it's the work we're called to do. And until we all show the courage to live that lesson, we will all suffocate. I believe in us, Kevin. I know we can do it, and I know this WCAC community can lead that effort.
I couldn't agree more, Ken. I've got your back on this, and I know that we've had many conversations over the last week, and we're going to talk about the best way to approach this as we move forward. But while we have everyone here, I'd like to also say good evening to our WCAC family. I, too, pray you and your families are healthy and safe. Here at First Amendment Sports, we are extremely passionate about this league, a league we all grew up in. We love all the people we share this bond with, and we often discuss the family culture and community the WCAC provides. We're here tonight to passionately support the African-American members of our family. The senseless murders of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd are just the most recent examples of the systematic racism that has plagued the United States since its inception. As white parents, T, Ken, Matt, and I will never experience the experiences Black parents have dealt with for generations, especially regarding the treatment of young Blacks by police. What we can and will do is educate ourselves, our children, and the kids we coach to play an important role on the team for racial equality. To all the African-American students, athletes, teachers, families, coaches, administrators, staff, old classmates and former teammates, and all of our friends, we want you to know this. We love you. We're proud of you. Black Lives Matter. We stand with you. We're here to listen and learn so we can do our part to end this social injustice. The time for unity is here now. It's all of us versus racism. Let's make it stop.
Well said, Kevin. I know if T were here tonight, he would agree wholeheartedly, and he'll have that opportunity to do so. Um, Yep, that's the way we feel. That's we we're not going to sit here and pretend like these things don't require our attention and our involvement, our active involvement. That's the life and the truth we need to live. Um, and it's a hard segue, Kevin, from this terrible aspect of life that we're experiencing right to another one that we've been living through for a few months now. Our world is in a different crisis simultaneous. The COVID and coronavirus pandemic, and it is with that on our hearts as well that we asked to host this town hall style meeting, and I want to invite on a special guest tonight. It's the WCAC League Commissioner Steve Colantuoni to join us and really provide us with an up to date status, a picture of our league, the things we as parents, as alumni, as administrators and coaches need to know and understand as we move forward, knowing that we don't have all the answers at this point in time. So I want to thank Steve and welcome him to the show for giving us an opportunity to just share, with everybody what's happening.
Hey, gentlemen, I appreciate you having me on. Kevin and Ken, the I wanted to say a couple of things at the beginning. You and your cohort there certainly covered a lot of heavy information, and I was hoping this show would be more informative, but our community and our society and the way things are going on, you just can't start a show without that being the number one topic. I will say that the 5 years that I've worked with these young men, and we chose to enter First Amendment sports as a cohort with the WCAC because we feel that it exhibits the values, the beliefs, and it is truly a Christian way of looking at things. And with our faith is the only way with demonstrating our beliefs and how to act and how to deal with people and how to deal with problems. That is all that will bring about change. And that has to start from every one of us, from teachers, students, coaches, athletes. Everybody has got to move in that one direction. So with that being said, my prayers do go out to the community and all the people in it that have been affected so much, not only by this senseless case with the police officers, as well as with this COVID-19 virus and what we're dealing with. I know everybody's been locked up for 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months, excuse me. And my goal here tonight was to try to end some of the rumors that are going around and take a minute just to be able to step back, look at it, and let the community members of the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference understand what's going on and what needs to be done before we can certainly return to normal.
Thanks, Steve. I want to make sure folks who are tuning in and watching on the board, main man Kevin there will be monitoring the comment section of any issues or questions you guys want to send us during the show. We'll curate those and do our best to be responsive. We very, very well may not get to everything tonight, but Steve has committed to join us again and keep the conversation going. Certainly to present a free-flowing, conduit of information. So let us know if you got anything on the board, and Kevin is the man with the plan on that. Steve, I figure we get things started kind of with where things are ending for a real special group of kids across our league. That's our seniors.
Yeah, I wanted to take the opportunity to congratulate all of the seniors, not just the athletes, but all the seniors in our 13 school conference that are moving on to the next phase of their life. The 4 years hard work in high school, whether you're an athlete or not, it doesn't matter. It's being accepted to a college or the military or moving on in whichever direction you want. I wish for you nothing but joy, happiness, and very much success. This conference, as you all well know, it exists because of, as Kevin and Ken are here, uh, the alumni, your parents, the active students that are there. Without the input that goes into this conference from those people, it would be non-existent. Unfortunately, I don't get to see a lot of the other things outside of the athletics, but yes, I do know that there's marches that are done for to raise money for cancer or other illnesses or that you're needed in the community. I know that there's people that are donating money that are for charitable contributions, and schools are taking the lead and the charge in building and helping in their community. That doesn't get talked about enough. But those types of things don't happen unless we have active students in the WCAC. And it starts with your seniors because the seniors pass that information down to the underclassmen as they grow up, they move forward in that. So please take my sincere congratulations. And I know all of you are trying to move through this now as how to graduate, when are we going to graduate, when do we have baccalaureate, when do we, if and when you're going to have a prom, all of these things that make your senior year special have been removed by this drastic COVID-19 that we're all dealing with. I want to let you know my prayers are with you, and we are moving. We have no decision but to move forward, and I think we move forward as best we can and as safely as we can for all concerned. So good luck to the seniors. Good luck to your future, and please don't forget that you once an alumni of the WCAC, always an alumni of the WCAC.
Hey, and Steve, people know now if they send me mail, it's gonna be I'm gonna put it up on the show. So there it is. It's the I
That's
got
good.
it in the mail today. It's the graduation announcement from my main man Quinn Osborne, magna cum laude. He's a two-time All-Met, two-time Defensive Player of the Year at Bishop McNamara, two-time All-Conference first-team linebacker. So proud of you, Quinn, and all of your classmates at my Bishop McNamara High School. So love all you guys, and like I said, you send something to the basement, you're gonna get on the show. So that just kind of puts a nice little bow on our best wishes for the class of 2020. Steve, they had a tough spring,
Yeah.
not just on the field but in the classroom because it really kind of got canceled.
Yeah, it's things started in the academic world, and it started moving on onto the athletic field. I think most of our teams actually had games, had some scrimmages done. Teams were chosen, uniforms were passed out, and that's about as far as we got. Um, I can tell you that when we talk about this evening, that you need to understand it's not just what the commissioner of the WCAC can do. There's many, many, many other avenues and many more people that have a say in where we're going with this as far as being able to play and participate. And that's kind of what I wanted to make sure that you understood tonight and let you understand where we are. Since the middle of March, when this came about, the ADs, even working from home, all of your athletic directors have been meeting weekly to try to figure out how to do this. We've met with the athletic trainers to figure out what is the safest way to move back into an athletic setting. But I want you to be aware that those decisions uh, are made by many, many people that have to go through. And number one is we've got to get our schools open again before we can. But again, I'm sorry it worked out this way for you. I know a lot of you. I know when my kids were seniors, everything was very important to them as being the last. This is my last dance. This is my last high school game. This is my senior night. My parents get to come out. All of these things that are very important for you, we tried to figure out a way to make it happen. Our last cutoff date actually was May 8th. If we could have gotten some kind of clearance to play, we were going to play a week of the season just so that we could get some seniors some action this spring. But as it turned out, as y'all know, we've been, besides being not only the COVID, being in this area has not helped things as well. PG County, DC, Northern Virginia, where the bulk of our kids, schools, and students are located, are a hotspot. So that has really slowed things down.
Well, Steve, the as a father of some grade school and middle school kids, I know not having well, organized sports to participate in has been tough, and it's been tough for families all across our community. We certainly look forward to, I don't know, at least hoping for things to change at some point here in the near future. And I know that so many things have to happen for that to happen. It's not like you're going to be able to wave a magic wand and say we're playing sports in the fall, or we're doing this, or we're doing that. And I know you wanted to talk a little bit about some of those things that are specific to our conference, to our athletes, on the medical side. Because that obviously has a big play into how any sports can progress in our league.
Yeah. I understand, speaking with the ADs, that a lot of the schools have gone away from their, they've had to cancel their summer camps and summer programs, which is where the bulk of our kids and our athletes pick up their yearly physicals. If you're entering one of our schools for the first time as a ninth grader, you'll need to have a yearly physical. And that physical is usually done this time of year, so that it's good for a year, and that lets you be eligible to play or try out for any of the sports that's offered at your school, whether they're WCAC certified or not. So please start making those appointments now. I know that doctors' offices are starting to open. We're starting to get more of a trickle through. If you are a senior or an underclassman and you had a physical last year, that physical is actually good till July 1. So now's the time to start making those appointments, trying to get in and see them, and see your doctor as best you can. Get your forms filled out and move forward. If the start dates do hold true, if we move into phase 3 and there is a way we can start athletics, then that time would be August 1 for football and August 12th for all the other sports that are offered in the fall. So please take this opportunity to start making phone calls, making appointments, and getting your physicals for the year. Right now we are still expecting to have those done. So please hop on the bandwagon, get them done, and then you'll be good for the year. And it should be said here that I know insurance companies a lot of them only pay for one physical a year. Well, if you're a parent, you want to have it done in the month of June or July, and when your child's in high school, because that gives you that yearly coverage and your yearly physical. One of the worst things you can do is have a child come in and say, "Oh, I want to play basketball," and he goes and gets his physical in November, and then your insurance the following year comes around, he wants to play football, and that physical is no good after June 30. So please step out and get some physicals now.
And Steve, I know the league has rules around waivers and the manner in which they can, go from one year to the next, right. With regard to that.
Yeah, at this time we are the league is we want to make sure that every child has a physical,
yep.
And that's our goal at this point. We have had some conversations, but right now the way things are opening up, I know I just had a physical last week, and I'm in one of the, as much as I hate to admit it, being in my 60s, I am one of the groups that should be very careful about going out and doing those things. But our doctor's offices are open up, and my doctor said that she is starting to see athletic physicals. So the best bet would be to get it done. And yeah. I got to say, from my heart, Ken, the reason for that is, for me, is if God forbid something ever happened to one of our kids, it could have been avoided by taking and getting a physical. I just would have a hard time living with myself. So I want to
Yep.
really impress on parents. Let's get these out there and get them done.
Yep, that's right. And I was really making sure. I know in the past we've seen and heard folks, either depending on or wanting or trying to get, some kind of waiver in. And I think the message from the WCAC is to all parents, to all families, to all athletes, and especially in the times we live in, get the physical, get the peace of mind, help the league, get as many kids safely onto the field whenever that time is. It's a big deal.
Exactly, exactly. And now, and that kind of moves into the next piece, and that is what are we going to do and what do sports look like this year? When you're sitting at home on your computer, there's a governing body that's called the National High School Federation for Sports. If you type in NHFS in Google, it'll pull it up. Also in there, you will see a document that is 16 pages long. It's right on their front page, and it's titled something that it's like returning to sports or returning to play, something of that nature. And if you look through it, they have outlined the what they consider the safest way right now to get back into playing athletics. And with that being said, before that happens, I want everybody to make sure you understand that these decisions come probably 8 or 9 different people. It's got to come from the governor or the mayor in D.C., for instance. That's the first stop. Then it's also got to move down to your school, the bishop, the diocese, uh, your school itself, whether they're going to be able to handle it, which then makes it a little trickier because even if we get started, where you live, your school may not be starting. It's very possible that Maryland and Virginia could open up, say, and the District of Columbia takes another 2 weeks. We don't know, so we are trying to work through that. But uh, once you hear, which will be published, I'm sure, when it's out there all over the news, that sports can start or whatever, then that's going to be something that it could be spot by spot. It could be that you know it, the public schools may go on a blanket statement for the state of Virginia, say, and that still has to go through our diocese before it can happen. But take a look at the federation outline. It does a very very good job of giving you an idea of what needs to be done. They've broken the sports into uh, ones that are classified as not only phase 1, 2, and 3, but we have them as high risk, moderate risk, and low risk. For instance, football is a high risk sport. That would be the last to come back. Cross country, swimming, that's a low risk sport. Those would come back naturally in front of it. So if you take a look at it, it even talks about um, how summer workouts should be run, how students should be put in pods of 5 or 6 kids, and those should be your kids that work out together. The theory behind it being if one of them were to get sick, then the other piece would, then the other 5 would be your group that you would watch rather than having to shut down the whole weight room. It talks about when you come in to work out every day, you should have a temperature you're taking, and that should be monitored. If I'm on the weight bench and I'm working out and I'm done with my sets, that thing needs to be wiped down before Ken or Kevin come in and do their sets. So it does give you a very very good idea of what needs to be done before we can get to that step of playing again.
How many 45 plates do I need to take off after you get up
Oh,
before I can get my work in,
I
Steve?
don't know about that. It's been a while since I pushed up that iron, but it's important that we want to get those sports in, but it's also important we get the summer workouts. So that's a document that I would tell everybody to go to. We will follow uh, probably 90-95% of that because it is a governing body with all high school sports.
And I just think it's so important to remember. This is a great opportunity to be reminded that, like that magic wand we talked about 10, 15 minutes ago, when they give the go ahead, so many things not only still have to happen for people to get on the field, but all the details, all the
Yeah.
procedures and policies and protocols that will absolutely have to be followed. That's why it's so important that we have like the best coaches, athletic directors, assistant coaches in all of high school sports. Those are going to be their jobs will be made a little bit harder, or maybe a lot harder in some cases. But making sure parents and kids understand it's not just green light, red light. It's once you get the go ahead, there's all these other things that have to be followed and adhered to, and when they're not, then that hurts everybody else. Everyone else, potentially prevents them from staying on the field.
Right. And one of the things that social as you look through that, social distancing is throughout the whole document.
Yep.
And one of the major pieces that people don't think about is transportation. If I'm supposed to be social distancing and I'm going to drive 40 kids to a football game to play, how do I do that? And how many trips on a bus do I have parents drive? All of these types of questions and answers has to be outlined and settled before we can move forward and have athletics. But with that being said, I will promise you that we are going to do everything we can to move forward in that direction. We all of our ads, our heads of schools, we truly believe that athletics is an integral part of developing the entire person. Mens sana in sana. If you're a PE teacher, when you hear sound body, sound mind for years and years and years. And we truly believe that and live that. And we are looking forward to getting back and getting the athletic eminent open. And with that, Ken, I'm going to move to fall sports.
Yep.
Uh, that's going to be a very interesting question.
I
The
want to take.
positive way,
I was going to take you off the hook and make sure everyone knows that we didn't bring you here tonight to make some grand announcement that we have a plan in place. So it's a lot harder than that.
I wish I could. We've got about 8 plans in place. Um, that's just the way it is because things change day to day,
Yep.
literally. One of the first things that with fall sports is right now, the most positive way, I think everybody is in phase one, Washington, the district, Maryland, and Virginia. So in theory, if the numbers stayed right and the governor moved to phase two, and we did that 2 or 3 weeks, and we moved to phase three, as I said, the most positive way to look at it, if that were to happen and they really had an idea of how we were going to open schools, then yes, those dates of August 1st and August 12th could possibly come into play. And we might be able to wait a week, 2 weeks, or open up and get going. To me, that looks like that's the best case scenario, but that's just athletics. We still have to figure out how schools are going to operate, and that's in the academic piece of each and individual school and diocese that they were in. So that would be perfect. That would be a home run, grand slam out of the ballpark, and start pulling out of this COVID-19 and moving forward with some sports to have to play. So that's the best case scenario that I can come up with right now. With that being said, as I told you earlier, we've been meeting ADs. We meet every Wednesday. I have a meeting tomorrow. We use your competitor to Zoom in together and talk to each other, and we end up talking about and putting up scenarios and what we're going to do. We have even looked at our goal is to, as athletic directors, and my goal as commissioner, is that we play sports and we play athletics and we play teams during the season, during the year. One of the options we've looked at is what if we condense all of our seasons? If for instance, they come back and they say in late October, late November, middle of November, okay, we can now open up our schools and we can now have sports full time. Does that mean we eliminate fall sports? In our minds, we do not want to do that. We are looking at possibly playing a condensed schedule where you may only play half the games, but you'd still be able to participate. You'd still be able to play for your school. You'd still be able to get kids would be able to get to be seen by colleges. You'd still be able to have film on kids for colleges, and we'd still be able to make it work. But again, everything changes day to day, Ken. But we are going to try to move forward in that direction. Um, right? We have an 8-week season. We have a 10-week season planned out right now, and we're starting to nail down what it would take to make that happen in our schools. So, as your commissioner, I can tell you that I am going to do everything in my power, and I can tell you that there's 13 athletic directors that I meet with every week that are going to do everything in their power to get us, when it's safe, up and on the fields again and competing against each other. What it will look like, I really can't tell you at this stage. It just depends on when things can open and when we can get back to business.
Well, I think certainly a hopeful message, and they heard you say the words, the value that the league places on the development of young kids on the athletic fields, and the things that are important to families by participating in those programs, and the value they have to the student body and the school experience. So the effort that I know and what we see you guys put in to be ready, A, to move when you can, and B, to move swiftly and smartly at that point is evident, and I think it's a good message to get out to folks, parents and kids especially, that the WCAC is absolutely going to lead the charge when they can.
Yeah, and with that being said, Ken, and we'd spoken about this earlier. I have look forward to doing this. I think this is a great way to kind of spread the news, and I would love to come back every couple of weeks or so when things change and just try to give an update as to where we are and what we're going to do. I would certainly, even we could even get to the point of having topics posted online prior to this, and I'll take questions and answer as many as I can in the time allotted. But I did want to get the message across that yes, we are working hard. We are planning on playing athletics as soon as we can get open safely in our schools. And what that's going to look like at this stage, I can't promise you. But I guarantee you, looking back and thinking about it, if I had a senior lacrosse player that could have played his lacrosse season January to March, he would definitely would have done it rather than having to play it March to June. So
Yep.
I think moving some of the things around and working it, I don't know how many games or whatever, like I said before, but I can promise you that the conference is going to try to move forward to make athletics happen somewhere in the near future as soon as we can get through this COVID-19.
Well, before we let you go, we'll want to bring Kevin Ricca back, and we'll put three people on the screen whose last names end in a vowel. It's always pretty dangerous. But I know Kevin's been paying attention throughout the show, and maybe did you have any kind of thoughts or questions as we work through some of that material, Kevin?
Well, I think the main question that I've taken on here, paying attention to you guys, that Steve did a tremendous job of answering on his own, was the flexibility and the scheduling for the fall sports and all other sports moving forward. The idea to have a condensed schedule, I think a lot of people that fell on great ears. It's very good to hear that we're being just so flexible in this whole situation. Like Steve said, taking it day by day, but it gives a lot of kids hope. Hey, a condensed schedule is better than no schedule. There's no doubt about it. The ability to move lacrosse up or back, or just to even have that on the plate, that certainly covered a lot of the questions that were being asked at this stage. One question I got though, people suggest that Ken weighs about 4 of those 45-pound plates you guys were talking about. If if he didn't shave that handlebar mustache, it'd be a lot easier for Steve to pump him out a few reps.
It's true.
Hey,
I feel it's a whole new day in the basement. I probably can put a couple extra. I can't. You know what, Kev? I could, but because the gyms have been shut down, I'm a little bit off my game.
no,
There you
Ken.
go.
You've seen all these COVID at-home workouts.
Yeah.
Everyone has an image of the commish just bench pressing the CEO and First Amendment just to get a few.
No problem. No problem.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve. What we're going to do is we're going to take notes on what folks had to say, issues and questions, and we will invite you back and at the earliest possible date. And if you want to come back sooner than that, you have a spot here every single Tuesday, and certainly a forum to speak to our community. And I know people appreciate the hard work that you are doing. And I on behalf of myself and Kevin and T and all of us who get around to the league, we certainly appreciate what you're up to.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. And anytime I can, compile some questions, and we'll choose some topics. And I'm hoping even once we get seasons up and running that I can come back and we can talk about some of the games that happen, or we can talk about some of the things that happened at the game. Whether it's a bad call or whether it's well, we know there are no bad calls.
No bad calls.
Questionable.
Sure.
There's a questionable call we can discuss. So there's something of that nature. But please, I love coming on. I hope we get out to the people that need to hear it, and I will certainly like to come in at least once a month to try to update what's going on in the conference. And eventually, my last plug is going to be with Ken, because just so everybody else knows, we are revamping, moving towards revamping the website. We want that to be a one-stop shop for every member of the WCAC, parents, alumni, kids in there. Yes, we do want sports in there. It will be predominantly sports. But hey, if your sports team is doing something to change the world and to change values and to change morals and to move our society forward, we want to certainly see about it and put it up there. Get it on camera, get some film, get it to the guys, and we can make this happen and make this community grow, not only here at First Amendment Sports Online, but also through the website, so that we can see it all. And I appreciate your time. Again, I love every one of you. Thank you for your parents, your alumni, the kids that are playing and chomping the bit, trying to play and getting ready out there. It's the success of this conference is due to the hard work that the parents and the kids have put into it so far. Ken, Kevin, I appreciate you. We don't have a better set of supporters that can help hold this conference up and be able to get the word out there about some of the great things that we do, not only here on the East Coast, but nationwide. Thanks again, guys.
You got it, Steve. We say it all the time. Nobody, the kids and the teachers and the alumni, they never let you down in the WCAC. Check us out. Subscribe to First Amendment Sports. You'll get a notification every time we do shows like this, live events, when we get back to doing live events. I want to say thank you to Luke David and Victor Maddox, Kevin Ricka, Tim Strachan, and our guest, Steve Colantuoni. And I did have a link for folks. Steve mentioned it on the show. It's the National High School Federation of Sports. There it is, nfhs.org. Check them out. Get the information. Understand what it is we are facing when we do open up. It's good. It's good to know. No one's half the battle. I think G.I. Joe taught us all that. Please come back. 5-10 minutes. We're going to be joined by Tim Strachan. We will talk Tuesday night basement topics, as we often do. And until then, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. Thanks, guys.